Now, in part one of this multi-part series, we saw how the most ancient symbol of the sun, the old petroglyph sun, evolved into the central theme of both Christianity and Judaism. And along with that ancient sun symbol, there was also evolved, obviously, sun gods. Over thousands of years, there arose at least 37 different sons of God. S-U-N. Here's a list of 37 sun gods. Gods of the sun who died, was resurrected. Most had a mother who was a virgin, had 12 followers. 37 different religions have sun gods and gods who died on the cross. Let's take a look at some of these sun gods, or shall we say sons, S-U-N, of God. Ancient sun gods with the radiating of the sun. Here's a radiating sun god, an old petroglyph stone. Here's a petroglyph sun man. Keeping in mind, these paintings and carvings are thousands of years before Christianity. Here's a Mesopotamian worship of the sun god, Zoroastrian sun. Ancient sun gods always had the spokes of the sun radiating from their head, which we said before as the crown of thorns. Let's start with the ancient Hindu son of God. Here's a son of God, S-U-N. Another sun god. You'll see the sun behind the god's head, showing that it's actually a spiritual, it's a manifestation of the sun in a god. The sun is always God. Everywhere you see gods of the ancient world, they always represented the sun. It was called, quite simply, sun worship. Pre-Christian sun worship in Eastern and Southern Slavic areas of the world, Eastern Europe, Chinese. Here's the sun god appearing to one of his followers. The ancient Egyptians had sun gods. Here's the Horus, the falcon, wearing the sun disk. The ancient Greeks and Romans had sun gods also. In Greek, Jesus is sun and Helios is the sun. Here in the Jewish synagogue, we have Helios, the sun god, on the floor in a Jewish synagogue. Here's Helios, or Apollo, or Sol, the sun god, riding across heaven. So basically what I'm saying is that the ancient world represented the sun in its personification and made the sun into a person to be worshipped. And that person became a god. And so here we see the sun with the sun rays, with the horses pulling the sun across the sky because they believed the sun roamed across the sky with horses. That's the only way they knew how to transport anything was on horses. So they said horses pulled the sun across the sky. Here in the Vatican, you will see Helios, the sun god, in the Vatican. Here's a Roman sun god, Mithra. Again, you'll see the crown of thorns. The crown of thorns was nothing more than the sun rays. The pagan sun god, Mithra, also known as the invincible sun, because the sun always comes back from winter. It dies in the winter, but it always comes back to us. And it's only supposed to come back because he said he would return. Well, he does. Every year in the spring, God's sun, who was dead in the winter, as far as we're concerned, in the northern hemisphere, the sun was dead in winter. But he springs back to life in spring. So he's our risen Savior. Of course, the sun is your risen Savior. If it doesn't rise, we're dead. So these are all pictures of ancient sun gods. Mithra, the sun god. The old Mesoamerican sun gods, also in Central and South America, they had sun gods. Aztec and Mayas, which we saw in the first video, you'll see the sun on the altar. Here's sun worship in Peru, the universal worship of the sun god of the solar deity, crawling on the knees to the sun. Here's another picture in South America of the ancient South American tribes worshiping the sun on the altar. Sun gods were everywhere. Nothing new. Quetzalcoatl, sun god. The Native Americans had sun gods too. The sun god's children. Native Americans would call the sun god's children. They had their own sun gods, as you can see. Orientals, they had sun gods too. Here in Korea, they got their sun god who came from heaven. He's just dressed like all the rest of them. In China, the solar deity. Japan, solar worship of the sun. The Mormons have a sun god too. The Mormons always had the sun. Sun's everywhere in the Mormon church. Political sons, of course, they always have political sons of God too, sun gods. Japan's emperors worship the sun, and the dictator, the murderous dictator who killed more human beings on the earth than anyone in the history of the world, Mao Zedong, killed more human beings, more millions, than anyone else on the earth. And he is a sun god. The Buddhists also have sun gods. Buddha was also a sun god. As a matter of fact, all through Buddhism, all their gods will always be sun gods. Then we have both Jesus and Buddha, both doing the same thing. On the left, you see Buddha coming to help a poor, sick person. Buddha comes in to look after a poor, sick person. And here on the other right-hand side, you'll see Jesus comes as a sun god to help a sick person. So it's the same idea. Jesus as God's Son, S-U-N, Sun God. Now let's look at Jesus as the Son of God. There's a very important book called Jesus Christ, Son of God. You need to get the book. You can order it from anywhere. You can order it from bookstores. Jesus Christ, Son of God. Ancient Cosmology and Early Christian Symbolism. So, what we're saying is that Jesus is a metaphor. The word Jesus, the person of Jesus, we're actually talking about the Son. That's why he's called God's Son, the light of the world. And Jerusalem, where Jesus was supposedly born or died, one of the two, you'll see it's the sun symbol. Always Jesus is referred to and shown to be a sun god. All churches always picture Jesus everywhere and every time in every church. Always a sun god.